Hello, friends!
Hello and welcome to the second session of Breaking the Meta, where we're playing BioShock and going through the game's criticisms of objectivist capitalism and how those are not critiques of conservatism.
Exactly. So, if you guys don't know us, I'm Classically Abby, and this is my husband, Jacob Roth. I run a channel where we talk about commentary, lifestyle, beauty, fashion, and opera, all from a conservative and classic perspective.
And I'm a staff attorney for Young America's Foundation, where we help do educational programming for college students on free markets, strong national defense, and traditional values. And let's get into the game.
Yeah, let's start playing. So just as a reminder for those who have seen it and those who have not watched before, I'm terrible at video games. So I am not going to be playing this well, but I will be playing it. My husband is much better, so if I ever throw the controllers at him, that's why. Because I'm not good at this. So
To that end, why don't you start us off?
am I starting? Okay.
Yeah.
Jacob World Traveler says you look like you're from Texas right now, aka Free America.
Yeah, if only I were. I am instead from Strong Island, New York. I would say represent, but it's with no pride that I say that.
And we'll be talking to you guys over on my YouTube channel and on the YAF Twitch stream. So feel free to ask us questions, because that is a really good way for us to communicate with you all and actually be able to participate in the comment section. So let's get into this. Do we just start?
Yeah.
Yeah? We
go
just
ahead.
go? Okay, let's go.
So, some background. We did the first chapter level of the game last week, which was your intro to this world, this undersea city, which has fallen into civil war and decay. We're now on the second level. We're going to learn about some of the origins of the conflict that led to the city falling apart, and has themes of foreign policy, borders, culture, and organized crime.
Exactly. And one of the cool things about this game is the music and the setting, and even though this
The
game
water
is,
effects.
Yeah, even though this game is quite old, it really holds up, which is fun. So we're gonna be walking through here, and there is a lot of violence. So just
Let the creepy woman have her moment of poetry. Do you want to immediately take on this Big Daddy?
I mean, I'm not good at that, but I can try. Do you want to do it?
No, by all means, go ahead.
So do you want to explain what a Big Daddy is for those of people who haven't watched before?
Only in brief. So, background in the game.
Oh God!
There's genetic manipulation
Alright!
in this setting, but it's with a limited resource called Adam.
Oh, no!
City fell into
Run away, run away,
disrepair,
run away, run away!
And so these big guys protect the little girls who help recycle that material and keep the economy of it going. They are meant to be boss enemies. We are playing on easy mode, and Abigail is trying to defeat this monster
Jacob!
man with a
You need to
wrench.
do this! I can't do this!
You're doing fine.
I'm not doing fine! Yeah, so I'm good at killing splicers because they're like 2 hits and you're done. The Big Daddies I have yet to conquer on my own. So I'm also gonna hop over into the comments and see what people are talking about.
We did have some people that were making some points. They're asking you guys to drink water with their
Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate that. Jacob's got not water but beer, and I will be drinking water from my water bottle. So.
Well, Jacob knows that's how you stay hydrated in Texas.
For those of you wondering, the person on the side of the camera that you can't see, that's Kyle. He works at YAF, and he will be waving for you right there. And he is running tonight's stream. So thank you very much to Kyle.
And you did have sleep-deprived ostrich asked, did your parents influence your political views for both of you?
Do you want to start with that one, or shall I?
Why don't you? But before that, so
Okay.
conceit of the game, as I said before, the bioeconomy of this setting. Everyone has this genetic manipulation stuff, gets superpowers, and to add to the creepy atmosphere of this pseudo-horror game, of course, the people who recycle that stuff from corpses, because of course, are mutated little girls. And you have the option of harvesting the material from them or rescuing them. We will only ever rescue them because #pro-life, and then also from a game story perspective and even a mechanical perspective, it is only upside and positive.
Yeah, it's much better.
To my little one. Thank you. But are you
Another
really a
person said,
friend
hey
to us?
Jacob, where can I get a sleep
Regardless,
That was
the little one brings you a gift.
Stone
Demonstrate.
I think J.C. Penney, where only the true elite patriots will shop, of course.
So as far as the first question, that other question, yes, and in a good way, in the sense that my parents were conservative, my dad especially, and we talked about politics all of the time growing up. I literally walked into the world after having lived at home, thinking that everyone talked about politics 75% of the time. So I definitely had that, and then of course when I did leave home and I was faced with, more contrasting views, I researched and made sure that I understood those views and didn't just take them from my parents. I wasn't just kind of mimicking what they were saying. I wanted to understand what I believed, and thank goodness what they had taught me also stood up to that research. So that's my story. What about you?
For my household growing up, my parents have always been, I'd say, the kind of conservative libertarian. Not a religious household growing up, in fact quite secular, but a lot of what you call like the bourgeois values. Yeah, a lot of the bourgeois values that you associate with like people who've been professionals, have worked their way up, and have that dedication to hard work, not a lot of temptation or vices or things like that, finding dignity in a career. You have your family, you have a house, you have a mortgage, and you live that nice life. And so that was what I was raised with, but there was no religious backing undergirding that. I'm the first one in my family to take a more religious bent. My parents are extremely understanding of that. It's just that coming from the baby boomer generation, they were part of that swing away from tradition, even if there was a sentimental attraction to a lot of like little lifestyle habits surrounding it. So yeah, I would be a libertarian if I only followed in the mode of my parents. On my own, I came to being conservative.
Should we listen?
Yeah.
You're looking for an invite to the fisheries. Nuts, I say. But if your heads up to the Wharf Master's office and find old Peach on research camera, maybe I could manage an invite.
Okay.
What was that?
Uh-oh.
My friend,
Say, God bless you two.
Sorry, there's a swear word there, but
I mean, it comes with the territory.
Yeah, it
They
does.
know what they're in for.
true enough.
Have fun, Abigail.
Oh God.
Hit B.
Did I? Oh God. B.
There you go.
Got her. Did I? Get her. She's so strong. Why? Usually I'm good at these ones. Where'd she go? I don't know.
Yeah, she's throwing heated butcher's hooks at you.
Should I move?
Probably.
Where is she? Is she right there?
No, she's flown away. Or crawled away, as it were.
That was... He knows. That one's too tough for me. He knows.
Go get the research camera. You're gonna be an influencer now. Turn around.
Oh.
Oh, no, you have to find it. No,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But you can take a grenade launcher.
Where's that?
front
Oh,
of
right
you.
in front of me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have fun.
I'll pick that up.
sunny friend, I smell an ounce of bond.
But I don't want it.
Yeah.
I want my wrench.
Atlas gives you the vouch. I ain't turning my eye.
How do I get up here?
His say
You jump?
You walk up that fallen beam.
Oh.
To your right. Yep. Traipse up it.
Oh.
There you go.
How can I just jump?
Yeah.
And everybody knows it. In the ground for months, and half the place
I'm glad that Conor McGregor is our spirit guide here.
Subscribers and followers flying in over Twitch already.
Love it. Yeah, so let's see what we're gonna do. Should I kill this guy? Probably.
Solid. The
Oh,
old
God.
traveler is a YAF patriot, and for that we thank you.
Get her! Get her! Get her! Got him! Okay. So,
Be real methodical with it. Pick every corpse clean. We don't let anything go to waste here in
in this
Rapture.
game, yeah.
Yeah, in this economy.
So I can also pick up this box under this person. It's shining.
Nah, I think it's already empty.
Yeah, okay. So, can you add what other questions are there?
Sure. Let me see. One in particular. One says, what do the two of you make of the new idea of people opting out of marriage in light of the statistics on divorce? And I'll say that you spend time on the internet and you hear doom and gloom from people about the idea of the American family as far as it pertains to them. And, you know, I watched Scrubs growing up, and one line that stuck with me is when Dr. Cox says to JD that statistics are meaningless for the individual. Now, you will always be your most significant little sample size. It always gets much more specific. So if you have the right values, you get your head on right, you develop yourself where you should, and you put yourself in position to find someone with those shared values, you're going to be fine. You still should be pursuing marriage. It's the people who are not doing that that set themselves up for failure. Now, as a country, we can have a conversation about trying to fix that and help people not be set up for failure. But as an individual, everyone else's actions don't affect you here. You can still have a happy marriage and pursue it. And if you're not in a position to do that, spend the time, self-develop. It is literally the most important thing in your life.
Well, and what I always say is that marriage works when both people recognize that love is a choice.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest problem in just modern love, is the idea that you don't get to choose who you love, or that you can fall out of love. And marriage is about recognizing that you're choosing one another every single day, even the days where it's hard.
Yeah.
And it's always worth it at the end. So that's something Jacob and I, and something I'm just going to pause for a second, something that I've always appreciated and loved about our marriage is that, and the reason we knew we would want to marry each other was that I knew and trusted that Jacob felt the same way that I did about that. Yeah. That it was always going to be something that we fought for, and it was never even really on the table for us that divorce would be an option.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it's not something that you have to look at like, oh, it's going to be easy. Marriage isn't always easy, but it is always worth it.
The chat is noticing your conservative use of ammunition is largely on high appreciate that. And then Miss Abby Keith from your channel, Abby asks, are you guys liking your move to Virginia?
Oh, we love it. We love Virginia. I actually never in my life expected to live in Virginia. I just didn't think that was on the table. And then when I met Jacob and he was at UVA Law, we lived there. I moved there to be with him in his last year.
Did you take out a Big Daddy on your own?
Yeah, I did it.
Attention. There you go.
And that's why they were so proud of me, because I did it on my own. And then, of course, Jacob working at YAF is like huge. It's amazing. It's awesome. We're so happy to be here. Okay, I'm gonna look at my comments while you play. Someone says this is literally the best game ever made. It's a pretty good game. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty good game.
Where's the multiplayer to destroy your friends and oh, audio log.
Somebody to watch. Once he was just a menace, to be convicted and hung. But he always manages to be where the evidence isn't. He's the most dangerous type of hoodlum. The kind with vision.
Do you mind if I ask Kyle if people can hear us? Yeah, just let us know in the comments if the sound balance is okay with the game. People are asking my astrological sign.
Oh, no. I take a very hard line against this. We do not give in to the temptations and flattery of pagan star magic. I absolutely cannot stand zodiological signs. It's garbage, and it's not worth your time. No. That's how they get you, the pagans.
A couple people said that they can hear us, so that's good. Someone else had a good question. It's a question I thought you would be interested in answering. Mm-hmm. Would you rather live in Rapture with no rules and regulation, or communist Russia with no choice?
Oh, well, okay, well, let's ask ourselves.
Yes.
Rapture before the Civil War downfall chicanery, or Rapture right now where it's Civil War hell pit filled with brainwashed mutants? It's a relevant clarification.
Analyze genetic information. Parse biological structures. Lots of other $5 words.
Okay. Shall I run around?
Let me just hack
Yeah, I was
this
gonna say
for
you should do the hack. These scare me.
They scare you.
Well, not like as in the rest of the game is scary, but I'm not fast enough to do any of this well.
What was it?
Okay.
Pandemic.
Pandemic or World War?
Well, let's see. This pandemic or a world war? Because this pandemic, I would take over a world war.
Yeah.
A Spanish flu, I don't know. The worst thing is when you get both back to back.
Right. That's also terrible. True enough. I mean, we can't really say because we've not lived through a world war.
Nor have we lived through a pandemic. I mean,
In what
you
sense?
think Spanish flu, you think literally like 50 million people dying worldwide in a population that was drastically smaller than this.
Right.
Right? Like
I mean, we've lived through a version of a pandemic in the
Yeah.
sense that we've been locked down. We've been
quarantines and like that.
quarantined.
Yeah, that's one thing, but quarantine with the unbelievable threat of death to everyone across the population without rhyme or reason, and like that movie Contagion, what it threatened.
Right.
That's a very different sense of things than this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we are gonna get our research camera.
Okay.
Huzzah!
Oh wait. Oh, we
What?
couldn't pick up the.
Shotgun
We have
shells?
too much ammunition.
Yes.
We're just so good at it.
Well, we use a renewable resource. It's a wrench.
Cadence Taylor asked, Abby, have you ever thought about dyeing your hair blonde or another color? So I've gone many different colors with my hair, not unnatural ones.
Not a fan.
Jacob does not like it.
I don't like it when your hair is wise.
Although I do have highlights now. You like those.
Nice,
Yeah.
but
What he said to me, and it made me laugh, was when I got these highlights, he liked them, and he said to me, when you get older, if you have streaks of gray in your hair, you'll look so good. And I was like, okay, I mean, if my husband thinks I'll look nice with gray hair, that's a compliment. But I've had close to blonde hair. I've had very intense red hair, and I have accidentally gone black a couple of times in an effort to get back to brown. So I have dyed my hair a few times.
have I ever dyed my hair? Ooh, no.
I'm looking-
Believe it or not. Okay, you're gonna take it over in a moment.
Yeah.
We're getting a little backstory right now on the exact mechanism of genetic rewriting.
Perfect.
It doesn't just heal damaged cells, it resurrects them. I can bend the double helix. Black can be reborn white, tall, short, weak, strong. But the slugs alone are not enough. I'll need money. And one other thing.
So I like this question. To both of you, and this is on Twitch. To both of you individually, what is your number one conservative issue? Pro-life, 2A, 1A.
Religion.
Freedom of religion?
Not just freedom of religion, but the cultural war issue of religiosity in the country. Because it's the value set from which everything else flows. You care about life, you need a definition of what life is, you need an idea of the value of it, and that is the idea that every life matters in the way that we take for granted as a moral impulse. That is an Abrahamic innovation. You look at ancient pagan civilizations, infanticide, I mean literal infanticide, several years old, allowable. Ancient China, even modern China, infanticide, allowable. That kind of a thing, religion is really the difference maker. Your Second Amendment rights, the idea of the sovereignty of the individual, again, it's the idea of the individual soul mattering against the impersonal state. To me, that's a religious matter as well. So everything else flows from that one thing. I know there are atheists who say that they have logic and reason enough to get to those values their own way. I think they're assuming a lot and have a lot of sentimental attachment to Abrahamic values that they get from the culture, but which they wouldn't generate on their own if they didn't live in a Judeo-Christian culture. So religion for me.
Sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
I mean,
That was important.
this is what we're here for?
For me, yeah, mine falls under that umbrella, but it's pro-life, 100%. That's my biggest issue, the thing that I care the most strongly about, and the thing I think is kind of the most clear once you understand the science, and it's hard to fight with. And it's sad that people still try to.
May I have my phone so I can respond to chat?
Yeah.
Thank
Sorry.
you. Why did it make its way over?
We've got he's got Twitch on his phone, I've got YouTube on my phone, so I just grabbed his phone so I could look at both while I was waiting. Is that a person? Did I get him?
I think I saw a body fall. In the meantime, you are being shot in the face.
Oh, it's okay.
You think you can get
Oh, that person was about to run away and then didn't. Get out of here! Here's someone else.
I think it was the death throes of that person.
Oh.
So, you know, feel good about yourself.
Well, and I just had a cream-filled cake, so I feel great.
It's the Twinkie defense.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have a question for our followers. Do you have a sweet tooth or a salty tooth? Can you say that?
Savory.
A savory tooth. Which one do you prefer? Because I tend to have a sweet tooth. I'm a sweet tooth kind of person. And my favorite dessert that I very rarely have, but when I do, it makes me so happy, are Napoleons, which are like layers of phyllo dough interspersed with cream, and it's great. So I want to know from you guys what your thing is. Yours is savory, right?
Yeah, I got top shelf film for our camera just now.
Oh, did we get the camera?
Yeah.
I missed it.
Oh, come on.
I was
Come on.
communicating.
No, terrible.
Terrible.
Trash.
Trashed here. Okay, you've got a lot. Salty, savory. Someone here says they have a spicy tooth. I like it.
Well, our intrepid, fearless Kyle and I intend at some point to do a hot sauce challenge, so yeah. So we have been preparing ourselves by getting ever spicier sauces and putting them on everything. And yeah, no, I look forward to just absolutely shredding my intestinal tract. I come from a Ashkenazic Jewish family on Long Island. Spice is not in the family culinary vocabulary. So, yeah, I have no advantage on my side here.
I can't do
Besides
spice
moxie.
at all. Yeah, Jacob can actually do spice. I've wondered in the past if I'm actually allergic because when I have spice, I just the flavor all goes away.
As a photographer, how would you rate that shot? What?
What's up?
Jacob, look at the latest comment and look at the person's name, and it's hilarious because this person was made to make these comments.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Pasta Mancer.
What is it?
Pasta Mancer on here.
Uh-huh.
Quote, I think it's close-minded to pursue various forms of culinary perfection. I think you should look to perfect one path. Pasta Mancer.
You gotta hydrate.
Oh, Abigail.
Oh gosh. Yeah, well, I drank some water. I think maybe that's where the comments are coming.
Eventually, we'll get to the point. It's gonna be
Yeah, that'll be maybe next week, or rather 2 weeks from now.
Ooh, I'm gonna go Yep, see, spelunking for audio diaries.
I met Ryan the day me and the lads were installing the bathroom plumbing up in his posh park.
Oh, come on, you gotta interrupt the diary to talk about your wife and kid?
I hate when that happens.
Help me get them to safety, and I'll be in your debt for life.
Do I have to go in and get his log back?
So this is an interesting question you guys might be interested in commenting on. The
Yeah.
whole Meghan Markle interview.
Oh.
I'm ready.
Yeah. You were prepared.
I have so many thoughts.
Can we let the gentleman continue?
Yes,
though?
yeah.
Wait, says it. What's with all the brass fittings? General contractor had me down for the tip. Well, I said, I suppose it's the contractor then who'll be bailing out all the ones for fortnight, is it? If it's price you're worried about, I'll be picking up the brass, so not to worry, Squire. And why would you be doing that, says it? Well, Mr. Ryan, profit or not,
Oh, come on.
no man is ever more out of privilege built by Bill McDonough. Next day I find out I'm Ryan's new general contractor.
Not the
So-
most stunning piece of backstory, but just refers back to Ryan's sense of dignity and perfectionism and things. So the big thing about this level is we're going to learn about the criminal enterprises of Fontaine, who's like the big boogeyman in the city, who got taken out by Ryan, the guy who founded the place. But we learn about what a hard guy he was and how ruthless and everything like that, and learn about how he funded the first research into the genetic manipulation here.
I'm sorry, but I'll be late again tonight. Rosenberg is demanding.
Should we
to
wait
speak
for it
about
to
Yeah,
this.
and then
Okay.
continue on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to build a proper financial market, and this idiot keeps going on about out of this genetic modification, that. I'll go spend an hour pretending to pay attention to the poor fellow. Be home as soon as I can.
So, regarding Meghan Markle...
Can we just reflect on how this bathroom stall cost 5 credits to open?
Oh, yeah, that's a thing in the game, that you have
Yeah.
to pay to use the restroom, because everything in the game, everything in Rapture is just a... what would you call that?
A mercenary
yes.
money-making scheme, because that's the highest sense of self-actualization in the city.
Right.
Although, to be fair, in Europe, in my experience, in many places, you have to pay €1 to use the restroom as an anti-vagrancy measure.
Right.
So, apparently, brutally capitalist Western Europe does the same thing.
It's a good thing that the main character in this game isn't afraid of needles.
The Twitchers have spoken. They're reminding you to hydrate once more. Jacob, you might.
Oh God. Yeah, I was gonna say, we gotta be careful.
I welcome the challenge. They can try.
So, I'm gonna go back to this Meghan Markle thing. I'm curious who watched the interview. I will say, I didn't actually watch all of it. I watched as much as I could, but every time I would close out of the app, it would try and start me all over from the beginning, and then I would have to watch the 5 ads all over again. So I watched as much of it as I possibly could, and I also read CBS's or CNN's
Wish me luck.
their summary of it. But I've not been a fan of the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry thing from the beginning, just because I think it's disrespectful to the tradition. And when you marry into a family, when you marry a man, you're not marrying just him. You're not marrying, it's similar to what I was saying before. You're not just marrying for love. You're marrying his family. You're marrying his responsibilities. You're marrying his duties. And it's your responsibility as a wife to support him through those things. And Meghan, instead of supporting him through those things, said, let's get out of here. Let's run away. And what was especially telling to me was that Prince Harry said, I didn't know that I was feeling these things until Meghan pointed it out to me.
He had to get woke up.
Is what, I was gonna say. That is what we like to call being woke. And I don't appreciate it. And then, of course, all of the things that they were saying about their own family and throwing all of these people under the bus just because because they want the fame, even though they're saying they want their privacy. Can't respect it, and I am not a fan. If they had decided that they wanted a private life and they had literally gone and lived by themselves and had just a quiet life on their own, maybe I could understand it. But they're living in a huge mansion, continuously taking interviews, and deciding to work in Hollywood. So these are
Kyle's
things...
nodding his head around vigorously. He's glad someone's saying it.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about this, and I don't respect it. So those are my thoughts on the Meghan Markle thing, and I could probably keep going on about it, but I won't. I won't make you suffer through it.
So close. Come on, I just need one. There we go.
You're so good at this. I don't think you've lost like one yet.
Oh, I did just in front of you a moment ago, but you were busy.
I was going on a diatribe. I was busy.
Oh my! Oh, happy couple. That's us. No, this is actually very depressing. The backstory to this scene. So.
We barely recognize her. That's her, Sam said. You're crazy, I told him. That thing? That is our Masha? But he was right. She was drawing blood out of a corpse by Fontaine Fisheries. And then when she was done, she walked off hand in hand with one of those awful golems. Masha!
Very depressing.
Yeah,
so,
it's really sad. So their daughter got turned into one of the
little sisters.
The little sisters.
So the little sisters were little girls, kidnapped, turn into these creatures that can recycle the atom. And as you can see, only vaguely here, but husband, wife, and then there's a bottle of pills open and a little picture of a little girl. So clearly a pill-based suicide.
Yeah.
Oh, but we get a power-up, so... yeah. Worth? No. Not worth it.
Bulldog said
Sad.
pretty nice comment that he highlighted. You want to check it out, Jacob, on your phone.
For you?
Yep.
For you guys.
Okay. What does it say?
What other games do y'all have in mind for this series? I'm really enjoying it.
Oh, yay! That makes us so happy. We're having fun playing. But I'm gonna let Jacob choose the next games because I don't know anything about games. So what would you choose, Jacob?
Well, you know how to participate and be enthusiastic, but you're not both feet into the world that you would know of other
Right.
games.
The only game I would say, really quick, I just want to say, the only game that I really enjoyed playing, and by playing I mean I chose the like narrative and Jacob played all the fights, was Witcher 3. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, we still, our favorite was the Heart of Stone of the DLC.
Yeah.
And that theme tune to it we'll still put on Spotify and listen to.
Yes.
In terms of this series, there are multiple games we're considering. We're thinking maybe about Bioshock 2 after this because, and I really like what they did with the villain for the sequel, they had it be a collectivist. So you have this, in a way, right-wing individualist authoritarian Andrew Ryan as the villain in this game. And then in the sequel, your villain is Sophia Lamb, a psychologist collectivist woman. And so just really flipping it completely the other way. And obviously with a lot of like left-wing dissolving of bonds or hierarchy themes in that, while still being very like family, like Manson family kind of cultish aspect to it. It's a very interesting turn. It's not as well made in terms of like every level dripping with the theme and stuff like that, but nonetheless interesting. We might look at that, but Red Dead Redemption 2 would be a lot of fun. The game's whole, yeah, just
hide behind
take.
it. Oh god! Oh god! Get out of here! Run away!
me.
Run away! See! Run
There
away!
you
Run
go.
away! Do you want to hack this?
No, it's just a health thing. Who cares?
Anyway, sorry. Continue what you were saying about games.
I'm just letting it finish.
I thought this would be a better life for us. Can you imagine a bigger fool than that?
Oh, above you. Someone throwing grenades at your face.
Oh god! Why did you tell me to look up?
So that you could
I was gonna
deal
say,
with
shouldn't
it.
I run?
So Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah, there you go. A lot of themes, robber baron kind of stuff with the Leviticus Cornwall enemy, the idea of the government cramping down on the individual's romantic life of the outlaw and how sad and bad it is that the way of the outlaw is coming to an end, except that the main character and his gang are a bunch of horrifying parasites who only leave destruction and death in their wake and are incredibly morally
wanna listen to
myopic,
this
selfish,
diary?
disgusting people. So the game really undercuts its own dramatic narrative and characterization. You
I saw
can
one
listen
of
to
these
it.
smugglers having a game of catch on the docks today. And this surprised me because his hands were crippled during the war. He was unloading the barge the other day when he was bitten from the sea slug. He woke up the next morning and he found he could move his fingers for the first time in years. I asked him if he still had that sea slug. As luck would have it, he did.
So that's where they're giving us backstory for the little sisters and for the stuff that he's putting in his veins that give him
The
superpowers.
Atom, yeah, the slugs. One thing I'll note about this level that's interesting, so one of the audio logs we came across, and I think there's more to this effect, mention how this villain character...
Should I jump in this ground?
You're just going to find some extra items, maybe an audio log. You're going to need a crouch. You already have enough
This
health.
one.
You already have enough health.
Okay. I thought you were just saying that generally.
No, there's more.
Oh, okay. I see hypos over there.
Yes, but
Oh, there's a whole like
See?
underground world.
That's what I'm telling you.
Oh my gosh, we're in the catacombs of Bioshock.
Yeah, it's a 3-foot tall piece of grating. There you go.
Something must be done about Fontaine. While I was buying buildings and fish futures, he was cornering the market on genotypes and nucleotide sequences. Rapture is transforming before my eyes. The Great Chain is pulling away from me. Perhaps it's time to give it a tug.
So that's actually very apropos
Yes.
of what I was just about to talk about. So I'm going to put this back in your hands.
Okay.
There you go. So what's very interesting about this level, and actually this was made in 2007 or whatever, it's got a lot of parallels with big tech in its own way. So what you just heard was Ryan, the Howard Hughes, Walt Disney founder of the city, who wanted to be this objectivist free market paradise. He's pointing out how Fontaine, who you heard a previous audio log saying, that guy seems like a criminal, but he can't be connected to evidence. He's a very slippery character. The Fontaine character was patenting all of these genetic sequences and cornering the market on the genetics research. Well, what that leads to is Ryan feeling his control over the city to make sure that his vision, the hyper-libertarian capitalist utopia, could be subverted and taken away from him. He wants this substantive commitment to these libertarian values, and he assumes everyone else would, of course, be on the same page there, and everyone would pursue their own best benefit, but Fontaine, Abigail,
Yeah?
directly to your left.
Oh God, what?
No, that's
my
your
right.
Your left.
Yeah.
Take the glowy thing.
Oh, I want that.
Yeah.
I just thought that was like a pretty light.
No.
Somebody asked Jacob. They
Yeah.
said Long Island. They said, "Hey, Long Island, are you a Nassau or a Suffolk boy?"
Nassau. Yeah, Nassau. I'm from Great Neck originally.
Oh.
Which, if you have read The Great Gatsby, is West Egg. But the demos really shifted by the time that I was living there. It wasn't really Gatsbyite anymore.
But you were in the middle of talking.
Yeah, so the whole thing is that Fontaine, the crime lord, he corners them. Sorry, I had to pause to take a photo.
Oh, I think apparently the screen is green on my YouTube stream file. So, yeah, not sure. If you're getting a green screen on my YouTube, feel free to hop over to Twitch. It's twitch.tv/YAF Gaming. Hopefully we can see why that's happening. I would not be surprised. Someone said, what did they say? Someone said big tech is blocking the stream. I have been having issues with that lately with YouTube, so I would not be entirely surprised.
There's still one more Big Daddy somewhere in this level. But to continue what I was saying, just have
Yeah,
a
go ahead and
coherent
finish
thought.
it, yeah.
So, oh my.
On YouTube, yeah. That's not great.
Well, Twitch represent, Abigail. I might want to work off both accounts now.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing, and I'm just putting the link to the Twitch account in the chat for my YouTube page. But finish your thought.
Staff just said they refreshed their page in the chat.
Yeah, feel free to refresh your page, and if not, then I've just put the link into the description.
I'm gonna let you all work this out before I continue, because no need for us all to speak over one another.
You pick it back up on Twitch, but you didn't pick it back up on YouTube, which is weird. It's like casting a tree.
Okay. Is it... You tell us what you'd like for us to do.
Well, it's up to you guys. It's up to the chat. You guys like ask, do you guys want us to shut the stream down and come back?
Yeah. You guys... I'm going to ask you guys to tell us in the comments. Would you like us to shut the stream down briefly and restart it and see if we can get it to kind of clear up? Or you can just head over to Twitch, and that's totally fine. So... There is live chat on Twitch, for those asking. Yep, okay. So we're gonna have people, I think, want to just head over to Twitch. So we'll have people come and join us over there. Let's see.
Let me know when I
You
should
go
continue
ahead.
with my thought.
I think you're good, because I think we're gonna have to... YouTube must be down for that reason.
Where is the final Big Daddy Little Sister pair?
That I couldn't tell you.
Oh! I hear the whale moans of a Big Daddy.
Do you want? You can
There he
finish.
is.
You can finish your thought now.
I'm gonna give people a moment to make their way over, and then I'll continue with that.
Okay.
Do you have a little sister? Or no. Are you just...
I personally do not have a little sister. I
Oh.
am the youngest in my family.
Okay. This guy's just on his own. I don't need to mess with him. Leave both Brittany and that singular Big Daddy alone.
Let's see.
Does he have one with him?
Taking a look at some of the comments here.
Yeah, there's definitely still one left. And yet. Why are there all these single fathers wandering around? I guess they're not even single fathers. Now they're just bachelors because they don't have children.
Who, the big daddies?
These big daddies that don't have a
Yeah,
child.
where
with
are
them.
their children? That's a fair point.
Rapture's changed, but Ryan can't see the wolves in the woods. This Fontaine fella, he's a crook and a proper tea leaf, but he's got the atom, and that makes him the governor. Sinking the profits back into bigger and better plasmids, building them Fontaine poorhouses, like Fontaine recruiting centres. Before we know it, bloke's gonna have an army of splicers.
Yep.
We're gonna have ourselves a whole heap of miseries.
This, oh, there we go. Who's that?
Mr. Ryan, I believe
This is
in
making me
rapture,
laugh.
What?
but that doesn't
I don't
mean
think
we
there should
always
be
win.
big daddies exclusively. I think it should be a whole nuclear
Biggest
family.
thing going in Rapture. When we arrest that
Yeah, I mean, the point of the big daddies in the game is just to protect the little sisters. They're not really trying to raise them. They're just trying to protect them from other.
You don't think it was an ironic comment?
I'm just saying it anyways, just because I think it's funny.
So, okay. What I was describing before, what's very interesting about it is it shows how the idea of the substantive culture of Rapture being this hyper-libertarian capitalist society, it requires that the people with the power to make that no longer the case buy in to the mission of Rapture. Fontaine, flim-flam man, basically gang leader, criminal, all that stuff, he just wanted to seize power and, oh, there we go, corner social power within Rapture in order to just extract wealth and resources from it and become its new dictator and take it in whatever vision he wanted. Probably some kind of kleptocratic, corporatist, fascist thing, just because he's a gang leader who wants to be in charge of his own country, kind of like any mafia don in a southern Sicily or something. And so he's a direct threat to Andrew Ryan. But the way that he's acquiring power is by outplaying Ryan at business. That very thing which Rapture is built to have no guardrails for. And so you have an issue where the very nature of Rapture leads to the contradiction of Rapture itself being undermined by the actions it lets and encourages its citizens to do. And so in order to preserve Rapture as the free market utopia he wants, Ryan now has to violate that free market by becoming his own government and muscling in on Fontaine and trumping up charges and busting his businesses and seizing his assets. And so now you have a free market society that's been maintained, except it's no longer a free market because Ryan has massively intervened. Except that if you didn't intervene, then Fontaine would subvert it. And so you end up with it being inevitable that someone will be equivalent to your state. Someone's going to be making these decisions. And so you either intervene enough to preserve a general balance where you have a free enough market with enough guardrails that you actually keep the thing going on, or you let it all fall into anarchy. And so, yeah, it's just an interesting pointing out that you cannot have a society like this without some implicit guardrails made explicit when the time comes and someone's going to actually try and push it.
Yep.
And I really like that because, that's the conservative position in free markets. We want free markets because we believe in the sovereignty of individual people to make choices and contract and all that stuff, but we don't believe in some kind of literally moral relativist or moral anarchic society in which anything can be sold to anyone at any time, without any guardrails of any form. No, there's moral commitments that we make in defining what can be sold, what can be contracted for, because if you don't, you end up with this situation where you enable warlordism or things falling apart or just no actual glue holding it all together.
I like that.
Yeah. Just a key point is that we're not economically illiterate. Because a big annoying thing, especially when you get to populism on the left or right, is that people will want things like raising the wages of Americans, wanting people to be wealthier, which we want too. But a minimum wage just will literally not achieve that. It's a different thing from, I don't believe in your method morally. I think it's wrong. It violates my values. Sure, we can have debates about that. There's a big difference between what we think you should choose to do versus what will actually achieve your goal. A minimum wage will not achieve your goal itself. That is the starting point of disagreement. So people just virtue signaling their intention. What, you disagree with the minimum wage because you don't want Americans to be richer? No, I want Americans to be richer, so I don't like a minimum wage.
Right, like let's do that practically,
It's
not
so
just...
annoying when people do the sleight of hand with this and just say,
Well,
oh,
it's
my
a sleight of
intentions
hand with
are sufficient.
everything, right? It reminds me of stuff with feminism. You believe in equal rights for women, right? Yes. So then you must be a feminist. Okay. But it also comes with this, and this. That
All these
has nothing
substantive
to do-
commitments to what equal really means. And if
And it's
people
like,
were
that
really
doesn't
equal,
really...
Yeah.
Then I don't agree to those things.
May I have my phone?
So, yes, you may.
Thank you.
And we're going to have to probably share because the YouTube stream is down. I don't know why, but it bothers me when I can't pick up something because I have too much of it. Because I know that soon enough I won't have too much of it. And I'm like, I don't like this.
It's okay, bag lady.
I'm a bag lady. Oh God.
We have some dropped frames. Which is not good. How are we doing? Like, are we wrapping up this level?
Yeah, we can be. So, Abigail, you're going to want to jump.
How do I do that?
Y.
Oh,
There you go.
okay.
Yeah, and we're going to go defeat the boss of this level and get on our way. So, yeah,
But
go
if
bang
things
on that.
are like, if we shouldn't continue because the internet's not doing great, then we can stop.
Warpath didn't get himself at. You got something from me and my crew? Or are you just looking to get criticized? You set here a spell. I needs to set on some coffee. Maybe put on silverware and the like.
Okay, so I think we might need to call it because the internet's not doing its best. But we will definitely resume next time.
Yeah, so let me...
yeah, go
let's
ahead
let
and
Atlas
save it.
finish his statements. Okay, so, ooh.
Nobody walks into my swampy carrying heat. Put your weapons in the pneumo, and then I'll let you in.
Cool. So, we are at a... Oh my God, everyone, stop.
Everyone has to say their piece. So just stop because we should probably like just end it here. Save.
So, yeah, we're about to do a very mild boss fight.
But why don't we?
And I'm gonna switch back to you guys.
Yeah, perfect. And we'll answer. Let's look through the stream, see if there's some questions we can answer before we sign off.
Sure.
This will fix the dropped frames. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, the stream is laggy, so we are gonna not participate in the taxi driver's fallacy. When times aren't good, don't continue. When they are good, keep on rolling.
Right.
Yeah. Check yours as well.
Sure.
I did see something from before asking how we can justify playing and displaying the game despite violent content. And as we were discussing last time, violence has never scandalized me coming from my background. And I think in this case...
And it definitely scandalized me.
Yeah.
But
But the violence is a means to an end for getting an artistic point across. And there's a really big difference between that which delights in the violence for its own sake and from a very realistic point of view of like, you're focusing on actual pain caused to people rather than like the action movie style of it where it's so bombastic, so removed from anything real that it's not even something resembling real world violence anymore. It's just something formulaic for a genre of telling a hero story.
yeah, well, for me, and I think it more has to do with storytelling, getting across a point, and it would be a shame to not play this game for that reason when there is a point of us playing it.
Yeah.
And I recognize that that for some people it can be overwhelming. So that's not to say that it can't be overwhelming. Definitely took me some getting used to.
Mm-hmm. And also, maybe the last question that we take for this session, from World Traveler, what is the craziest pro-choice argument you've heard?
Oh man, there are so many, but anytime there's an argument of convenience, of just, well, it doesn't fit into my life's plan right now. That to me is a crazy argument to kill someone. And that's not to say that pregnancy is easy. It's not, but it means that it doesn't necessarily give you an excuse to end the life of your own child. So that to me is a crazy argument.
For me, it's one of the most everyday of the arguments, which is, well, you know, what are you going to do about the quality of life of a child born into a poor family where they're not wanted, or criminality is more likely to result? And it's, think about what that's saying. It's saying that you, from a third-party perspective, can decide whether or not someone else's life is worth living, and you are heavily tilted towards thinking, no, they better not live, better for them to be dead than alive, because they'd be poorer than you would like, or possibly engaging in criminal activity. Again, think about that. So, do you think that you should mercy kill the poor of any nation, ever, anyone, even in your own country? Do you think that you should kill people in prisons, criminality of all stripes, because, well, it's a social failure, so better for them not to be alive than to be alive? These are arguments that the very self-same left that is pro-choice would absolutely find abominable. You don't care enough about the poor, so you should help them.
Right.
We should have more empathy for criminals and social rehabilitation and things like that. Don't just label them as a criminal forever. Find the human in there. Except if they're in the womb and they're only potentially going to have a life of poverty that this third party thinks is not worth living at all, or that a third party might think could possibly result in them being a criminal of some stripe. In that case, preemptively kill them. But also abolish the death penalty for actual criminals, and also only focus on helping the poor who are already here. It's just, it does not compute to me.
Well, and then for me, just this will be the last thing I say, because the science, as I mentioned earlier in this stream, the idea of trying to choose when life begins, when so much happens and develops so soon and early, is insane to me, because, you know, a baby has a heartbeat at 22 days. So which is, most women barely know they're pregnant at that point, or probably don't even know, depending on, you know, if you're trying or not.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing is trying to determine when a baby's life begins based on when you decide they're human enough. That's just a crazy argument to me in and of itself.
Also, which human being was not a zygote? Which human being was not passing through that stage?
Yeah.
When does humanity start, if not that point? It is the life cycle. Every one of us was that. So that is as human can be, because it's the very starting stage. It's like saying a tree has never been a seed.
And I remember,
seeds aren't plants. No, I'm sorry. It's only once they've sprouted. No, that is the stage.
I remember we were at the aquarium last year, and we were looking at the life cycle of jellyfish. And you said to me, like, look at how they draw the life cycle. It starts with the zygote.
Yeah.
That they'll call it a life cycle of an animal or of a sea creature when it's a zygote, but for humans, they won't say it, because they don't want to have to commit to that. So.
Yeah. Well, on that cheery note, we're going to sign off for this week, and we thank you very much for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
And we'll see you 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, and make sure to keep asking us those questions, because we love interacting with you all. So
yeah, very
we'll
much
see you
so.
guys next time.